Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is May 21st, 2018, and we have some kit releases, a couple of little things to talk about. But first up, before we get into the regular show, we had a request for information in the comments of the last video about the announcement that caused a little bit of dramatics online from the folks. Can't say fine folks, because if you go really look and dig up the reputation of this place, it's pretty much a dumpster fire. But a place called Internet Hobbies, which is a online hobby vending place, which likes to take people's money and not give it product. And that's not even like any kind of slander or libel. Just go look up the reviews. That's all you need to do to know about these people. They posted some sort of little JPEG flyer, because it's not on their website anywhere, or at least it wasn't at the time when this all took place, about Tamiya instituting a new MAP program. Now, what a MAP program for the uninitiated is a minimum advertised price. I'm running children. I lost my train of thought for a second. Minimum advertised price. Basically, what that is what it sounds like. You can't advertise a price for this model kit for lower than what we set it at. Now, that doesn't mean that a retailer can't sell it for less than that. That just means they can't advertise it for that. You see this a lot with if you go to like Lowe's or Home Depot, or anything that sells appliances. A lot of appliances have a MAP program attached as far as what they can be advertised for, and that's what you'll see. And this is also takes place on Amazon and Wayfair and other things with non-appliance type of things. You'll see there'll be a lack of price. It'll either say call for more information, or there will be a situation where it'll say add to cart to see price. And what that is they're taking a sideways route around the MAP. Saying that you say I can't advertise it for less than this refrigerator can't be advertised for less than $12.99.99, but I want to get rid of it because I want to sell it for $8.99.99, and so I'm not advertising it for sale. You had to put it into your cart to see what the price was. Car dealers do that all the time, where it's like, hey, check out our new 2017 Chevy Silverado, call for price, because Chevy has a MAP program where you cannot advertise their truck for less than a certain amount of money. MAP programs and their things are not price control. It is simply just a advertised price. MAP also has nothing to do with your manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is a completely different number. That's important to keep in mind, because this little flyer from Internet Hobbies tried to create a little bit of a drama storm with it, saying, oh, well, you need to buy your Tamiya kits from us right now, because soon they're going to be more expensive, and this is just, oh, woe is us. Trying to drum up some business, because they're, of course, a dump, and, it caused an unnecessary amount of well, one of two camps. Either you were terrified about it, or you were like, nah, your Tamiya kits are going to cost more. And, of course, those people are just, bleepity bleeps. It's too early in the morning to be cursing. Plus, we're trying to keep the news show family friendly. The reason why this won't affect you as a viewer of the show is, of course, you order your Tamiya kits from Hobbylink Japan, Hobby Search, Plaza Japan, or wherever you get your Tamiya kits from that are not here in the United States. Also, it would not really affect the prices in the United States if you would just shop at an actual hobby shop, because, of course, a hobby shop can put their prices on whatever they want to. They're not advertising the price. You just walk in, and the thing is what it costs. That being said, we don't buy Japanese kits in the United States for the most part anyway, because unless they're secondhand, chances are you're going to pay too much. It's just the nature of the middleman markup that is involved in, Tamiya. Of course, there's Tamiya USA that gets their money. Aoshima, Hasegawa, and everybody else gets their middleman that get a chunk of money, and kits end up costing about twice as much as what they're really worth in Japan if you buy them here, and that is usually far in excess above what the kit would cost if you shipped it directly to yourself from the fine country of Japan itself. You saw a lot of people going, well, you people who get your kits cheap from Hobbylink Japan aren't going to be able to do that anymore because the MAP's going to raise the prices. These are people who clearly don't buy import kits, and don't have any idea how the import kit pricing works in the first place. Because if you guys who are long fans of the show know, if you buy any type of kit, Hasegawa is the one exclusion to this because they don't put this on the end of their boxes anymore. They used to back in the day, but they don't on the new ones. You get, here's a Tamiya kit, old Tamiya kit. You see here on the end, it has a number, if it will go into focus. Might need to be as big as the box. There we go. See, it says 124 scale, item 24081, and then there's that 1000 at the end of it. What the 1000 is not an extension of the price, or extension of the part number. It is the price. This kit, which is the old Ford Sierra race car, which we showed you on a video here not too long ago. When this kit was new in, let's see, when was this made? 1989. When this was new in 1989, it cost 1,000 yen, which today is around about $8.98 or so. Which is great because anybody who prices these race car Sierra kits know that they sell for way more than $8. Usually a function of 10 times that much these days. You can still find them in Japan for fairly decent prices if you really, really hunt and are patient about it, but try to buy them here in the United States secondhand. Unless you find somebody who just wants to get rid of one on eBay, they're a ridiculous amount of money. But that price is baked onto the end cap, right? It says right there on the box what the manufacturer suggested retail price of that kit was 1,000 yen. That doesn't mean that everyone sold it for 1,000 yen. Most people probably sold it for somewhere around 800 yen or maybe 750 yen, something like that. The MAP program won't have any effect on the actual manufacturer suggested retail price of the kit. So the price of kits are not going to increase. What you may see in certain circumstances are advertised prices, and this again I don't think would affect Amazon necessarily or eBay necessarily, of places like Internet Hobbies or other online, especially North American based hobby shops having to raise their price. What the MAP program really is designed to do is try to level the playing field between a brick and mortar hobby shop that, of course has employees and insurance and rent and utilities, and an internet hobby store, which looks like my basement, where it's just a whole bunch of stuff laying around that gets shipped out whenever people buy it. If you are buying things in bulk from Japan or just even through a U.S. distributor and you don't have employees and overhead and all that stuff, of course you can sell your stuff for less money because you don't have as much expenses eating into your profit margin. So the point of a MAP program is to try to level that playing field so that everyone is selling the kit, or at least advertising the price of the kit at the same level, regardless as to where you're purchasing it from. Again, if you're here in the United States and you want to buy Tamiya kits, the Oshima kits, or any Japanese kit for that matter, you buy it in Japan. If you want to buy Meng or you want to buy any Chinese manufactured or Hong Kong manufactured, really, because none of the stuff's made on mainland China. You don't buy Meng or Dragon or Cyber Hobby or Hobby Boss or any of those, IPMS style things. You buy them in China from like Hobby Easy or somewhere along those lines. Some Hong Kong based retailer can get them directly to you. You can buy, BMAX kits. That's coming out of Macau, which is another part of the special administrative regions of China. It's also, again, through Hong Kong, usually earlier than you can buy it anywhere else and for less money than you can buy it for anywhere else. Global community, 2018, buy your kits from the country of origin, and chances are they will be cheaper. The one exclusion to that may be anything out of Europe, depending on where you buy it from. You got to really hunt around in European purchasing, because much like our shipping to Europe is very expensive, their shipping to the United States has become rather expensive as well. So you get into a situation where you're paying, $30 for a model kit, and the shipping on it is another $25 on top of that, and it's like, sheesh, that's an awful expensive box and stamps. But sometimes the yen can be your friend too. I usually buy my Heller kits in Japan. And at least for the moment, while there's no Revell distributor here in the United States, because of course the whole thing with Revell being sold, buying Revell of Germany kits, the stuff that was planned to come out of Revell of Germany in 2018, regardless of what happened with the sale. Great example of that would be the Pirelli 25th anniversary Golf GTI kit that's going to be coming out next month, allegedly. It'll probably be cheaper to buy it in Japan than it would be to buy it in Europe, because the shipping from Japan will be less than the shipping from Germany or most other countries other than maybe the United Kingdom. For some reason, shipping from hobby shops in London, not London, but in England is relatively cheap compared to Italy, Spain, Germany, and other countries. So, you know, due diligence, fiscal responsibility, and whatnot is required. But all in all, the map program is not going to affect you day to day, especially if you're purchasing directly from Japan in the first place. So, sorry for all those folks who are just miserable wretches out there and want to make everybody else miserable too by trying to be gleeful about the price of kits going up. The price of kits is not going up. It is just the advertised price of the kit goes up. Anybody who wants to sell kits online can just simply, again, just say, okay, add this to the cart to see the price and go around the map program entirely, and their prices will actually not be affected whatsoever. So there is that. Now we have two little kit announcements. One actually is a legitimate new announcement that happened this week. One is something we missed from the Shizuoka Hobby Show. First up is this. This is the new announcement. This is a co-branded Platts kit. It is going to be for the Pacific Racing Nissan Silvia S14 D1 Grand Prix 2017 car. This is going to be a Reebok Fujimi kit with brand new livery decals and then sold under a Platts label. They did this last year with, I believe it was the 2016 season D1 Grand Prix Pacific Racing Team car. The kit description, as most Fujimi kit descriptions say these days, says kit contents may not match actual pictures. So what you're seeing here is the real car. Don't expect the kit to be like that because Fujimi really doesn't have a D1 Grand Prix base kit to begin with. So it'll be very interesting to see what you actually get in this kit. I don't remember what came in the one that happened last year in terms of wheels and this big spoiler and everything else. Drifting competition is still a big thing in Japan. Which is what the D1 Grand Prix is all about. And, it'll be Fujimi's off-the-shelf S15 kit, or S14 rather, and, new decals. Many much decals there for the fans of people who like to decal a lot of things, because, of course, this is going to be almost a complete entire wrap. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to have you paint the car. Green or white or black. Probably black will be the easiest, and then decals from there. The other thing that came up at the Shizuoka Hobby Show that I saw it in passing, but I could not see a placard for it, and so I wasn't positively sure what it was, so I didn't want to talk about it without knowing. Is this? This is the Idemitsu Motion Mugen Honda Civic EF9. A lot of them are not Honda fans will not know there's a difference between that. You'll say, well, that just looks like the other B-Max race car Civics. And for the most part, it is. The B-Max race car Civics were 1988 and 1989 spec EF3 Civics, which were the beginning designation of that generation, the EF generation of Civics. The EF9 came along in 1990 and ran in 1991 and 1992 until the cars went to the EG platform, which was the much more rounded car that the EG6 Civic hatchback and the Ferio are based on. This kit will have a new hood, new headlight buckets and headlight glass, a new front bumper, and a new rear bumper. Those are basically the main components to convert the kit to the new body style, if you will. The hood specifically, it has a power bulge, if you will, on the EF3, and it is a completely flat hood as far as the contours go. There's still like ribs, going down each side of the hood, but there was an actual like bulge in the hood in the EF3 that is not existing on the EF9 Civics. And it'll come with this new livery for the Idemitsu Motion. There is, of course, a couple of different variations of Idemitsu Motion Mugen decals for the EF3 because, of course, the team still existed back then, and actually there's Idemitsu Motion decals for the EG6 Civic as well. So if you really wanted to build this specific livery, which is kind of famous, you can build quite a variety of them. There was SK Decals does some, Studio 27 did some. I want to say it was Autocolor, which is B-Max's little decal company they run occasionally. They did some as well. And there's a variety of them if you wanted to go with this livery. My guess is these decals on this kit will be a situation where you just paint the car white, and the decals will do pretty much everything else. most decal sets that are out there for the EF3 and the EG6, you have to paint the two-tone. The red part will require painting. They usually give you like the silver stripes and the sides rocker panel. I don't know what you want to call that. It almost looks like the circle, triangle, square cheat codes out of a Nintendo system, or a Sega Genesis system, actually, a PlayStation. We're just going to keep naming names until I come across where I think PlayStation, that's what has a circle, square, and triangle. You know, it is what it is in that sense, but for the Honda Fanatics, this will give you that next part of the EF generation kit. And so that takes us over to the actual kit releases for this week. Mostly reissues, all of it being out of Japan right now. The American stuff in the terms of like round 2's kits probably should start rolling in next week. We have Aoshima with just some straight restocks. This is stuff that is completely and totally unchanged, just being thrown back on the shelves. And in the model car side of things, you have a reissue of the Mitsubishi Delica Star Wagon, as well as a reissue of the Toyota Mark II 1988 GX81 series kit. That can be built one of 3 ways in different trim levels. There's also 2 different engine options. Now, they are engine inserts, not actual engines in the way you would consider an engine, but there's several ways to build that kit, which is a really neat thing because prior to this kit coming out like 3 months ago, you could not build all those options in one model kit. You had to buy various model kits, several of them out of production for a long time. And so this has been the one cool thing that Aoshima has been doing with these model car line, in not so much the 2 model car line because they've been straight reissues, but the model car stuff is combining a lot of parts out of older kits that you can't find into a new, into one sort of consolidated box. In the 2 model car side of things, because there were some reissues on that, you got the BN Sports Toyota Mark II JZX 100, which was the 1990s thing. This is the old D1 Grand Prix kit for that. Obviously, it doesn't have the D1 livery with it, but it has some awesome flames. And also the Rodex style Nissan Silvia S15. That just came out a few months ago as well, so that sold out very quickly. Bravo to you guys for buying that out in a big fat hurry. The other thing that got reissued this week as well was the Project D version of the Initial D AE86 Truno. This is the middle grade version. We always talk about there's 3 Initial D kits. All of them have engines. They are the Volume 1, which is the initial comic book car that builds just a very stock AE86. The Project D, which is the first race car version, has some optional engine parts and things like that. And then there's the Volume 37 one, which is the full-on Mamma Jamma kit that has every single part that came out of the Initial D series. Also includes like a roll cage, a racing seat, and a couple more engine options as far as open headers and things like that. So nothing wrong with the Project D version, but it's, again, the Volume 37 includes everything, and this one only includes stock or slightly modified race car. That takes us to Hasegawa. A couple reissues, a couple of new kits in the sense that they are considered to be new. The reissues are the charge liveried Mazda 767B Le Mans car. This, of course, the predecessor to the 787. Also, the Calsonic R89C Japanese sports car prototype series car. So this is not the Le Mans car. This is the car that then raced in the Japanese series after Le Mans. Same base car, but there were a few different changes to it. The high beam headlights have been taken off of it. The spoiler is a different, more upright spoiler rather than being very, very inline and aerodynamic the way the Le Mans car was. Obviously, the Japanese sports car prototype series, like most Japanese racing to this day, were 300 to 500 kilometer races, not an endurance race in the sense of being like a 24 hours or anything like that. The new kits this week are, again, some reissues. One is the Williams the FB14. This is a 1/24 scale F1 car. First time this has been available in a number of years. It may be 15 years or so. I'm trying to think. I don't think there are release dates on these. The last time that they were on Hobby Search, which means they're older than 2002, which is, at this point, 14 years. So it probably has been 15 years since these kits have come out last. And then the other one is a reissue of their Porsche 962C, this time with the Brunn Repsol livery. This car is for the World Sports Car Prototype Series. It was the 4th place finisher in, I believe it was 1987 or 1988. I had to looked up, but it's been a while since I glanced at it. At any rate, I believe the front end of this is not quite what the real car was. If you care enough, of course, Google image search will be your friend on deciding whether or not you're going to replicate that exactly, or if you're just going to build it out of the box, because chances are most people are not going to know if it's real or not, or in terms of its accuracy. I hate to be the advocate for bad accuracy, but when it comes to these sort of curbside race cars that are pretty quick builds because they're 50, 60 pieces, how much work you put into them really ultimately comes down to the builder. And that'll take us over to Fujimi, lastly, for this week. A couple of reissues that are, new kits in the sense that they're fresh reissues. First up, you have the Toyota Soar. This kit can be built as either the 2.5 GT or the 4.0 GT Limited. The basic difference between these kits, effectively, are the wheel choices. There are also decals. The 4.0 Limited has limited decals, as well as 4.0 decals. The other one does not, because it's a more base model Soar. This, of course, was the same car that the Lexus SC400 came off of, and Fujimi did make a Lexus version of this tooling. However, left-hand drive parts and Lexus stuff are not included in this kit. This is strictly a JDM, or a right-hand drive Soar kit only. And then the other reissue is this. This is the Nissan Skyline GTSR, the 1987 edition. The Fujimi kit will be a 1989 version, although I suspect this kit will probably get heaped into the dustbin of obscurity, as it is an old motorized kit, very, very poor chassis, body interior not too terribly bad. It's a reasonable facsimile. This kit, what is different about this in terms of the way it was reissued the last time, this kit has 2 sets of wheels in it, and I was looking at them, and they're both BBS RS, and I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. Why would you give 2 sets of the same wheel? Until I looked at the rest of the parts trees for this and realized that the second set of BBS RS wheels are the 345 series wheels. There were a number of kits that Fujimi did back in the day, in the 1980s and early 1990s. There are, colloquially known as the 345 series, because they came with a set of tires and wheels to fit that were 345 ZR, whatever the heck wheels they were. They're 345 series tires. Giant, massive steamroller treaded tires. They're not slicks, they're treaded tires. And all of these kits have large sets of over fenders to hide those tires. So that's also comes with this kit. All of the aero parts and all of the giant over fenders you need to hide your giant steamroller tires. Also, Fujimi is in the process of reissuing a number of the over fender series parts as like parts packs. Just be the over fenders. You don't get the wheels or the tires. You get the over fenders, and those can be the basis of some conversions. For other things. You could obviously use the over fenders for kits that are not designed to fit. I'm not sure any of the over fenders actually are going to come out this month. I believe they start in June and run like June, July, and August, because there are a number of sets of them. Basically, they just ran off and this is something they've done in the past, where they've taken all of the 345 series over fender kits and then sold just the over fenders as little like sales hangers, the way like photo etch detail upsets come in a sleeve that you could put on a little rack hanger. The same thing. It's just the over fender parts in a hanger sleeve. But if you don't want to just buy the fenders, but you want the whole Skyline, this of course is the way to go with that. It's very interesting. I don't know that any of the 345 series kits have been reissued anytime recently, because that was a trend in a period of time. So it's very, very amusing and cool to see Fujimi go ahead and throw those back out there for people. Those are going to be collector kits in the sense of finding them. There were a number of them. There's a couple Skylines, a couple Toyotas. There was, I believe, a Porsche 928 at one point in time. I don't think the Koenig Ferraris technically count as 345 series kits, but I think they still have the same tires and wheels in them. It's Japan. What can you say sometimes? Sometimes you just got to roll with what they give you and appreciate the culture. But anyway, guys, that wraps it up for this week. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the other side.